The Little Staple Remover, written and illustrated by Devin Huddleston. There once was a staple remover who lived in the land of the staplers. He was always shunned and scoffed at by all of the staplers, merely because he was what he was, a staple remover. "Who would want a device that merely undoes what we work so hard to do?" they would say. This made the little staple remover sad. "But can't I be useful?" he asked. "In no way," they'd respond. "You're nothing but a menace." Then one day, a new stapler came to town. His name was Scott, but he was not who he seemed. The little staple remover had tried to warn them. They just didn't believe him. I saw him," he said, "by the well. It was all grainy and black and white. He stapled Miss loosely 3 times, right in the margin." After not seeing the staples in her margin the next day, they didn't believe him. "But I saved her," he said. But when questioned, she denied being saved by the lowly staple remover. No one knows why. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of pride. But for telling such lies, the little staple remover was cast from society. And 3 weeks later, when he heard the news, the little staple remover was not at all surprised. The entire town of Notebookopolis was pinned with post-its made from the town's papers, stuck to their walls with 2 metal shafts jutting through them, connected by a thin metal rod. The remaining unpinned townspapers were guarding the city from all staplers. In heaps, the little staple remover could see piles of springs, plastic, metal, and staples. These piles used to be those who mocked the little staple remover. But he found no joy in this sight, only pity. The little staple remover knew what he needed to do. After searching for hours, the little staple remover finally found where the staplers had fled. Somewhere in the forest, a few miles north of their village. The little staple remover didn't want to be seen. While hiding in the brush, he heard a few staplers talking. "I'm so confused," one said. "Why are they attacking us?" asked another. "Is it because they ran out of food? Are they eating us?" he heard one say. Scott was trying to start a rebellion. The little staple remover just knew it. Scott was tired of being second class to the paper man, treated as animals, as he thought. The little staple remover developed a plan. The little staple remover searched around the outskirts of the camp until he found Elzar. Elzar was an elder stapler, so if he could prove his story to Elzar, the entire tribe would believe him. But Elzar was also a war veteran, bearing a scar from the last civil war. He made the final charge and won the war. When the little staple remover tried to talk to him, Elzar immediately grabbed the little staple remover and put the tips of his staples to his head. Quickly, the little staple remover explained. Elzar hardly believed him. "Let me show you. I can prove it," he said. So Elzar reluctantly followed him, and they snuck into the city. After freeing a few people and allowing them to explain, Elzar was convinced. he agreed to call an emergency council meeting for the next evening. So, they think we attacked them. It looks like they are describing Scott. But when the meeting time came, Elzar was nowhere to be found. Instead, there was Scott. "Where's Elzar?" one asked. "Why did he call this meeting?" "Elzar must be preparing," Scott said. "I know why this meeting was called," he continued. "We need to fight back against the Paper Man." It had begun. "So long they have neglected us and treated us as lesser beings. Now they attack us without warrant?" "Hear, hear," a few said. Still, others protested against the fighting. "Let's get 'em," said one. The little staple remover was watching from the window. In a frantic haze, he retreated to find his only hope, Elzar, as quickly as he could. The camp was vacant. All were at the meeting. After what seemed like hours, but was really only several minutes, he saw a little pink stapler playing with a yo-yo. "Do you know Elzar?" he called to her. "Sure," she called back. "He's my uncle." Good, good, he said, exhausted. Have you seen him?" "Yeah, sure," she exclaimed. "I saw him head to the meeting a while ago, to the back of the tent." Just as the little staple remover had predicted, Elzar had been stapled and functional, and was lying in the woods a few yards from the back of the meeting tent, where Scott was right now, trying to start a rebellion, with a staple protruding from his side, sticking out from his hinges. Well, Elzar got himself up, and well, the rest is history. Scott's plan was put to an end. One can only imagine what happened. What do you think happened? The little staple remover became a local hero, statue and all. He saved lives, brought the two civilizations back together, and was never mocked or made fun of again. The end. And yes, this page does indeed say the end. Can you try to read it?